Hi there, welcome back to my channel where I am literally writing my own narrative and tagging you along with me, and at the same time sharing lessons as I go. This time in the sharing lessons as I go series, I've just cooked that up. It's now a series. I'm basically going to share with you a story of what happened to me and what I did and maybe what I would have done differently in hindsight to be able to share a lesson that happened based on my lived experience. And I believe that very many of us actually go through very similar experiences, but we just don't talk about it. At times we think that we are the only ones in the entire world who have gone through particular things, but more than not, it probably has happened to somebody else. And if it hasn't, then it's going to happen to someone else. And if your experience, your shared experience, can actually give someone more insight on what to do, they do not have to actually have no clue about what to do the way you had. By hearing from you, they can have a glimpse of what they would have done in that instance. So this is how I did things and what I would have done differently. So I am going to be sharing a story of how I was attacked by a man. I was physically assaulted. Whoa, I didn't actually say it that way, but I was physically assaulted by someone. And okay, let's start from the beginning. Physical assault is real. It happens to anyone. It can happen to anyone, and many times we just see these things on TV. You see statistics showing things happening to women, men, children. We see them on the news. We see so many horror stories, but by and large, most of them will never see the light of day. This is my story of how I was physically assaulted and almost died. I haven't processed that. I haven't ever processed that. But this is what happened. So it was 2020, February, March. I think it was March 2020. It was just a couple of days after the Guild presidential elections. Woo! It was just after the Guild presidential elections at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, for those who don't know, MUST, where I had just had the privilege of being elected as the Guild president of the university. And if you have been a part of a campaign, an electoral campaign of any sort, I've even seen these days primary elections, people are serious, kids are making posters. But whether you have been a candidate or you've been in the team, you know how intense it can be, and most of the time your social life goes down the drain. You hardly speak to very many people who aren't at the front line of your election, but we all know that the people who are at the front line, they're those who are in the background. So a lot of my friends who weren't keen on being at the front lines with me had never had a chance to, have personal time with me. I didn't have quality time with those friends. And after winning, I needed to actually take a step back and have time with my friends, people who mean a lot to me, people who I care about, and also to just express that I may have won the election, but I'm still Mariam, I'm still Iculet, and don't think that I'm now better than you and I don't value the friendship. I really wanted to be intentional and at least check on those friends who I had to ignore to focus on the election, and just make them know that I still value you, I still want to be your friend, I still appreciate our relationship, and I want us to, So this one day I went to see one of my friends. Let us call him okay, that's almost his name. Let's call him Jeremy. Jeremy. Let's call him Trevor. Okay, let's call him Jeremy. One, I had been meaning to meet Jeremy for a very long time, and I kept on postponing due to being busy, elections, so many excuses. And a point reaches where excuses no longer suffice, and I went to see Jeremy. And at that time, I'm someone who, I don't like people coming to my place at that time. Because I could have asked him to come to my place, but I prefer either meeting at a convenient location or going to someone's place, so that I can easily excuse myself. And I think I don't want to tell someone to leave but I can tell myself to leave when I go to your place. That's my logic. That was my logic. Yeah, because it's hard for you to tell someone to, okay, now get out, now leave my place. Okay, of course you can have those cues. Anyway, I'm coming over. We prepared and I went over to his place and we had fun. We talked, we caught up, friendly stuff. Talked about the campaigns, what were my plans, how can he help, just normal stuff, books, career, whatever we talk. I don't know. You know how friends are. You talk about everything. So we talk. It's now getting to 9 p.m. And Jeremy actually lived in, I think, one of either the second largest or the largest student hub in Mbarara. Now, these places aren't the safest, and neither are they the most insecure. It's a place where students live, people live. I wouldn't necessarily term it as the unsafest area in that place. So it's about 9 p.m. coming to 10. Of course, the dialogue is going great. The conversation is really interesting, but I have to cut it short. I have to go back home. So I'm like, Jeremy, I have to go. He's like, cool, let me push you. I'm like, not necessary. Like, nah, I insist. Let me push you. I'm like, cool. Who am I to refuse? So we walk out of his hostel and he's pushing me to go and grab a judge, a boda, a motorcycle, if you aren't Ugandan or African. So it's a means of transportation. You know how you have taxis, cabs, trains. In some parts of the world, you have motorcycles. And that's one of the things we have in Uganda. So we are walking, still talking, very leisurely, walking out of his hostel, going to get a judge. Judge is slang for a motorcycle. I'm looking out. It's a very beautiful day. It's been very cold in London. It's very warm, very sunny. Anyway, so we're walking, going to the main road to get a judge. And his hostel is, honestly, you could see the main road from his hostel. That's how relatively safe it was. And it was like 9 p.m. There was still life in the environment. So we walk out and we are walking slowly, just like the leisurely pace to the main road. And as we are walking, honestly, but I'm not too keen on my surroundings. My bad. However, Jeremy has his eyes on the road, very keen. He's very aware of his surroundings, and he tells me, I think those guys ahead, they seem suspicious. And ahead of us were about 4 gentlemen just standing ahead, quite ahead of us. And he's like, those guys seem suspicious. If anything happens, when I tell you to run, you run. I'm like, cool. I bet I'm faster than you. I bet. Honestly, I laughed it off. I'm like, I bet I'm faster than you. I felt I was faster. I have a history of being an athlete. So I'm like, I probably can. I can sprint. But I didn't think I was going to have to sprint. So we are walking with Jeremy. I'm chatting. Yeah, I looked at the guys, but I did not. While, yeah, I could see that it could be suspicious, but I didn't think it would be. At least not to me. You know how you think that things happen to other people, but not to you, until they happen to you? That was me in that moment. So we are walking, and the guys start just slowly walking towards us as well. We're like, cool. We continue walking towards them. Now, Jeremy slows down his pace. He's like, stop walking. I'm like, okay, I stop walking. I'm still not connecting the dots. I'm just normal day, out with my friend. I'm going to get a judge. Think normal things. So he's like, stop. And when he said stop, the guys literally began running towards us. And he's like, run. He's like, run. He's like, run. And we turn and we are running. And even as I'm running, I'm like, wow, I'm running. Honest to God. I was just like, okay, I'm running for my life. These guys are running after us. They are running after us. Guys like, stop, what? Running after us. And we are now, because his hostel, we weren't so far from his hostel. So we were just about to reach his hostel gate. And I am running as fast as I can. I have my laptop bag behind me. And I'm running as fast as I can. But even as I was running, honestly, it was like, you know how your body is running, but your mind is almost above you, watching you running. And it's like, wow, we are running. And even then, I didn't completely appreciate the amount of danger I was in. Yes, I knew I was in danger, but I didn't think of how, I didn't really fathom the degree of how dangerous the situation was. So as we are about to reach his gate, he's faster than me. Figures. He's faster than me. He reaches his gate and runs in. Now, as I'm trying to enter the gate as well, one of the guys grabs my bag and literally yanks me back and throws me down. And when I fell down, I don't know how I fell down, and as I was looking up to like kind of get up again, this guy had a brick. You know those concrete bricks? Woo! Wow. So when I look up, this guy has a brick, those concrete bricks, and he has raised the brick over his head, and he has this menacing look, and he is literally in the motion of of hitting my head with the brick. And I'm like, of course, this is in microseconds. Whew, I'm like, wait, is this how you die? I was like, even as I was in that moment, I still didn't think that, wait, this is how I die? This is how I die. I couldn't believe it. So I look up and he's raising this block over my head and he's like just about to bring it down. He had this really menacing look, and I quickly like ducked and threw my laptop bag over my head. So you know how the bag sort of comes over you? It came over me. Now the brick hit my back. He hit my back like towards the edge of my back with the brick. And I tried to get up, I pull his leg to try and like destabilize him. Now I don't know if his other colleagues, now the other colleagues who he was running with, when I fell down, they joined us, but they weren't actually hitting me the way one of them was. There were about 3 to 4 guys. So when I fell down, they stopped running, and this guy is hitting me and he starts kicking me, and I'm like, I've seen these things in the movies, but I didn't think it would happen to me. So he starts kicking me. Now, kicking me, and he hits me with a block twice, like once, twice, all on my back. And now I kind of duck, so I'm just trying now to protect my head because I don't know what's going on. There are like 3, 4 guys. So what I did was I'm just down and I'm trying to hold my head. Me trying to destabilize him did not work, and he just kind of, and as they were kicking me, my friend went into his hostel. I think I was screaming. I think I was screaming. I believe I was screaming, and my friend was also shout. Wow, do guys bellow? Okay, he was bellowing. He ran into his hostel, and of course we were screaming. So the guys in the hostel, shout out to guys, the guys in the hostel came out with, I don't know, sticks and stuff. Woo! So the guys in the hostel came out with sticks and stuff, and when the guys in the hostel, my friend Jeremy and the guys in the hostel came out with sticks and stuff, and they ran after these guys. So when the guys came out of the hostel, these guys took off, and I was down on the ground in disbelief and shock. Honestly, I thought I was going to die, because I'm like, okay, this I guess this is it. And the guys came out, they ran after the attackers, assailants, and the ladies in the hostel. I don't know if it was the ladies or I don't know who, but there were ladies in the hostel as well. And yeah, the ladies in the hostel came for me. They picked me out. They picked me from the ground. I was a mess, and they took me into their hostel. So there was a lady. Let's call her Florence. Let's call her Florence. So Florence, like I think there were like 3 to 4 ladies in the hostel, but it was mainly a hostel of guys. There were more guys than ladies. I think there were maybe 2 ladies in that hostel. I don't know. I didn't know the demographics, but there were more men than ladies. And she took me to her room. And I remember she didn't even ask me what happened. I think I looked like I was in shock. I don't know, but she asked me if I was hurt. She asked me where I was hit, and I showed her my injuries. Luckily, she was a medical student, and she had first aid and different things in her room to kind of help me out. So she nursed me, she cleaned my injuries, and I lay on her bed for I spent the night in her room, and there I am, just reliving. I'm sure there were like 5 minutes, not more than, maybe even 3 minutes. I think there were like 3 minutes max. I don't think it was more than 3 minutes. But in those 3 minutes, a lot happened. While I'm being nursed, these guys ran after the assailants. They ran after the attacker. They got him. They beat the guy. They brought the guy to me. I'm there, battered, wounded. They brought the guy to me. They're like, what do we do to him? Let's finish him. People were bitter. People were pissed, and rightly so. I think I was just too shocked to even be pissed. I'm like, they beat the guy. Then luckily within the hostel there was a mature, like now an older student. Now the younger guys were so pissed. They wanted to finish the guy. The guy was like, guys, calm down. Yes, what has happened is wrong, but let's not kill this guy. Let's take him to the police. The guys were like, no, let's beat him, let's finish him. They're beating him, they shot him. Like, he was bloody, he was wounded. But the mature gentleman stepped in and said, let's take him to police, do not kill him. And he really controlled the situation, and he was taken to the police. And people kept checking on me, the guys in the hostel kept checking on me. And my friend Jeremy, honestly, he really took over. He's the one who made the complaint in the police. He followed up with the police. He made the case. He organized everything. He organized my medical exam that would be attached to the police case. He took over and organized everything. For me, I almost wanted to forget that it had happened in the first place. And the next day in the morning, I went back. I don't know. I think he called some of my friends. At that time, I was renting a house with 2 of my other friends, and I think he called those friends, and I think one of them came for me the next day and took me back, and we went together, or either a friend came or I went alone back to my place. And he filed the case. All I had to do was go and make my statement of what happened. This guy was arrested, he was tried, and he eventually went to jail. Now, I didn't want to tell anyone. When that happened, I honestly just wanted to have as minimal of a fuss as possible. I didn't want, because one, I had just been elected guild president. So I felt like this is going to be unnecessary drama, unnecessary news at campus. I felt like it was just unnecessary drama. This is what I thought at the time. And I just didn't want to have a fuss about what had happened. I didn't know how bad it could get, like how that news could be misconstrued, what kind of gossip, or I don't know. I just didn't want a fuss about the whole thing, and I would rather deal with it silently, quietly, with as minimal knowledge to other people as possible. Most of my cabinet did not know about it. Only my very close friends knew about it from my lips, unless the witnesses, probably people knew about it. I don't know anyway, because of course it happened in a public place. But I feel like even the people who may have known about it, also they kind of were decent enough not to make a huge fuss about it. Of course they probably talked about it, but they didn't really make a huge fuss about it. Neither did I. And it's only my very close friends who knew about it. And of course those very close friends, I think I never moved alone anywhere. Whenever they were aware I was heading back home or I was going somewhere alone, a friend would always volunteer to tag along, just to ensure I was safe. But I didn't tell anyone. I didn't actually report that to the Dean of Students office. I didn't report it to any place and any person. And eventually I told my parents, and just as I thought, they tried to take matters into their own hands. They try to get me police protection. I'm like, you know what? Police protection. That's the worst thing you could do to me, because now to them, they felt like it was a premeditated attack, and they felt like this could have been organized by someone. At first I thought it was, but honestly I don't think it was. It was probably just, yeah, we were in the right place at the right time, but the wrong people who are also there, and they took advantage of that fact. But you know, when you are in the heat of it, you have so many conspiracy theories going around, and I didn't want to make a huge fuss about it. And you know, when there are so many conspiracies, innocent people would get blamed. Maybe they would think, oh, my opponents, maybe because they were unhappy about the loss, tried to beat me up, which would be further from the truth, because I knew all these guys and they were really decent, honorable gentlemen. Like, yeah, despite being on opposite ends of the ballot, or despite us vying for the same position, we weren't enemies. I had nothing against them, and they had nothing against me. But you know, when you tell your parents I was attacked, I was beaten, you have just won an election, they always think the worst. They always go their minds move so fast, and they try to do all these kinds of things, and that's exactly what I didn't want. I tried to keep it as quiet as possible, which happened, which was really good. Now fast forward to a couple of weeks later, we had a students' welfare committee meeting, and I was trying to bring up the issue of student security and why it's important for us to actually collaborate with the police to really increase student security around the university and in the student accommodation hubs. And among other examples of students who had been attacked in various places, and there was even a tale of one who actually was killed in one of those places in the distant past. I also mentioned about my own experience, about how I was attacked at some point, and of course the whole room was in shock, and the dean was like, why didn't you tell us? Like, why didn't you tell us? And good question, honestly. It was a very good question. Why didn't I? And I really had no response for them. But my point was, that's not the point. The point is, people are insecure. Let's try and fix the problem. But in hindsight, as someone who has been on the receiving end of assault, I completely understand how when you're the victim, if you could erase the entire memory, you would. You just want to forget everything that happened. You want to move on as though nothing has happened, but something has happened, and that's what you, the victim, you want to do. However, if you have good friends around you, I had Jeremy, who made sure I made the police statement, who followed up the case, who made sure I had the medical exam. Literally, I had all these things secured, and it was up to me to see how far I would want to go with all those different things. So if you are a friend and you are aware of someone who has been assaulted, the last thing they would want to do is go for a medical exam, go to the police. That's the last thing they would want to do, even though that's the first thing they should do. That's the last thing they would want to do, but they need to do it. So lucky for me, I had someone who made me do it. I don't know if I would have done it had he not been there. Maybe I would have, but I can't know if I would have. That ship has sailed. But if you are a colleague who is with someone who has been assaulted, be that person who guides them and tries to make it less messy, less gruesome, and maybe take some things into your own hands and nudge them to the direction that would be helpful. In the future, if let's say you want to actually lodge a complaint about someone, let's say you've been raped and you did not have a medical exam, as soon as the vile act happened, that's important evidence lost. You know, even if you don't choose to press charges, it's good to have that option there. Go do the test. Go figure out if anything can be done to make the effects of the act less hurtful, less permanent. Like, let's say you have been raped, you can go to avoid getting HIV/AIDS. You'd have to take PrEP. You could get pregnant, maybe take emergency contraceptive pills to try and prevent that. There are so many things that you only have almost a 72-hour window, literally about 2 days, for you to make those choices. And it's good for you to if not yourself, have someone around you who can do it for you, and that is important. If you are under any organization, any entity, it's good to make a report of it, because in the future you may want to use evidence of what you went through to justify a proposal, to make to enlighten people about what happens in the organization, but you didn't make a report anywhere. So even while there's a chance you won't be believed, there's a chance you may be opening yourself up to even more assault, even more ridicule. But it's good to find someone who you can talk to. I didn't talk to anyone. I should have, but I didn't. And let's say I had in that meeting, when I'm bringing up this issue, it would be like, I told the dean, he knows I was attacked. Tell us, am I lying? Didn't get to that point, but it would be a better question than saying, why didn't you come to us if you indeed were attacked? Though, of course, in that meeting, they weren't questioning why I was attacked, but they're questioning, why didn't you come to us? And I'm like, I dealt with it. The guy is in jail. But go to someone. Go to your superior, go to your dean, go to the police, go to someone and make sure that at least you have support. Even if you don't proceed with charges, or even if nothing is done, at least you told someone, your conscience is clear. Then I don't want to say that try to unpack what has happened immediately. I feel like sometimes it's better not to unpack it immediately. I think when it happens, it's good to first of all go to automatic mode and first get out of the situation. First, in a way, distance yourself from what happened and just do the mechanical things. Go to the police, go to make your statements, and then slowly unpack what happened. Slowly heal, slowly digest what exactly happened. Did I just almost die? Wow, I was going to die on the ground because of a brick, because of some fool who, yeah, and you need to unpack those things as you go, and it may take months, it may take a day, it may take years, and it's okay. Whatever your timeline is, unpack it as you go along. But I think also the takeaway is it can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone, and it has happened to even those who you least expect. So if, let's say, I had been killed, it would be a shock. It would be like, kill president? Yafude? Bamukobye? Like, so she okay. 2 days ago, elected girl president. 2 days later, she is assassinated. Like, that would be the word. She was mad. Okay, of course I would have been murdered, but now there would be so many people who would be accused. I think they would start by saying, who would benefit from her death? So okay, there would be another election, and of course they would be innocent. But you see how my point is, it can happen to anyone. You're some loaded guy, for once maybe you're running in your rich neighborhood and people kill you. We have seen these things where people are shot dead outside their homes. So it can happen to anyone, meaning take any precautions that you can to make yourself secure. Of course, ideally, bad people should not do bad things. We should be free to walk as we please. We should be free to go to the shop and buy something. Ideally, we should not feel unsafe, and we should not be harmed when we are doing nothing wrong. But realistically, we need to also really put precautions, protect ourselves, and reduce the instances where such things can happen to us. So I don't know what your situation is, but look at your surroundings and see what checks and balances can you actually have to ensure that you're safe. Still unpacking that even today, but I think it's also not blaming yourself, and don't feel like, okay, maybe if I had gone back home earlier, maybe if I had not gone at all to see my friend, maybe if, okay, there's so many maybes and there's so many what ifs, and that doesn't really help much. But don't blame yourself. It's not your fault that someone took the time to come and beat you up. It's not your fault. It's not. And I think it's also okay if you don't want to talk about it. It's good to report the case. It's good to take the case to court. It's good to have the police involved, have the gentleman tried, have the perpetrators tried, woman or man, have them serve their time, have justice, run its course. But sometimes if it's more hurtful for you to go through that route, yeah, you don't have to. It's an option. The ideal side is the option is there for you and justice should be served. But at the end of the day, we want it to be served with less harm, with no added harm to someone who has already been hurt. So I think in such situations, friends and family have to come on board and just make it less gruesome for such people. Another thing I realized is that very many times as leaders, we tend to put our own needs and our own issues to the back burner because we have put ourselves forward to serve, and we believe that our own concerns become secondary to the concerns of the people who we are serving, and that is an inherently selfless way to look at things, and it would be very appropriate if all leaders had a semblance of that mindset. However, if your life is at risk, if you are harmed, and if you see that you are not safe and you need to protect yourself, it's also okay to do that, because for you to be able to lead and serve others, you must be in a position to do that. You must be capable, you must be able, you must have the means, the energy, the life, the will and the zeal to do so. And if you are at harm's way, then you won't actually have the chance to do just that. So I think also I found it, one, I had not even been sworn in, and I think I just didn't want a fuss, and I didn't want to start by reporting cases where I am a victim so immediately, so soon after winning an election. And I just didn't want anything to sort of cloud the moment, to cloud the experience and my quest to serve. And I think very many leaders actually go through that, where trying to strike a balance between protecting yourself, taking care of yourself, and also serving. The duality of that can actually exist, where you take care of yourself, you serve yourself, but also you serve others. And I think that was also something that I was grappling with, which is why I used other means. I did not use the university means to protect myself or to deal with that situation. I used state means, basically means that were available to anyone. However, I was a student of the university, and I had a dean of students. I had somebody who is there to listen to me and cater to my needs and my issues and my concerns. And being a guild president does not excuse me or exempt me from having access to those services, having access to the university counselor, having access to the university warden, having access to the university lawyer, having access to the dean of students. But somehow you think that, no, I'm just here to be a voice for the students, other students. I'm here to speak about their interests. I'm here to advocate for their needs. I'm here to amplify their voices, but within those voices is also your own. So you need to strike that balance that, okay, I am a citizen of this country, I'm here to serve my country, but I'm also part of the country, so my interests also matter. So I think that was also something I was struggling with. I didn't want to go and ask for help, yet I'm here to help others. I think I was grappling with that fact of, okay, so now I go and ask for help, but I was elected to help. Make it make sense. Like that was my issue. That was my issue, honestly. I didn't know how to help myself because I felt like I was there to help others. So I didn't know how to walk and ask for help. Weird. I felt like my issues were secondary. My concerns were secondary, and my primary objective, my primary goal was to be of assistance to others, to my students, to those who had elected me to serve them. But yeah, that's my story of how I was assaulted. I was beaten. I don't know if that's being beaten, because I was assaulted and I survived. I literally survived death by a thread. Yeah, I would not be here. I would have been killed by a block. It can happen to you too, so protect yourself.